It will be time for these two teams to settle it between the white lines.
Elway, he's going to fire toward the end zone.
Reno lofts the ball up the near side.
Montana throw.
Chargers looking downfield, going deep. One man wrecking through.
How did he do that?
Looking end zone. Caught for the win. Unstoppable.
Hello and welcome to a new season of NFL. Back once again, and joining me, NFL safety Jason Bell and two-time Super Bowl winner Osi Umenyiora. Twice, yes. Now, hopefully these guys are excited about the new season as Tampa Bay's Gerald McCoy was when he returned to pre-season training sporting a kimono. He'd been on holiday to Japan and wanted everybody to know. And actually, as we will see a little bit later, players do return in a variety of odd ways to pre-season.
I mean, now with social media, everybody wants to put out who they are and their personality. But these guys are getting ridiculous. Though it's funny and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Why aren't you in a kimono?
No. I don't do that, no. I did once come dressed up as a sumo wrestler. That was.
Did you?
That was cool.
To pre-season?
To pre-season practice.
Right.
There's no pictures, but that was cool.
My mission this season is to find those pictures. Before we actually get into this season, we're going to cast our minds back to February and what was possibly the greatest Super Bowl ever.
Welcome to NRG Stadium and to Super Bowl 51 between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. New England tonight is trying to become a five-time Super Bowl winner.
The boot, the flash bulbs go off. Super Bowl 51 is underway.
Devontae starts out wide left into the end zone. He took a big leap, and Atlanta has grabbed the lead in Super Bowl 51. Late fake by Ryan, chased by McClellan, throws on the move to the far side. Jones makes the catch. Diving catch, touchdown, Atlanta! These Falcons have been well prepared for this game, to say the least. Four-man rush, he's pressured, he throws down the middle. Pass is picked off, it's coming back to the right, goodbye.
Could you play any worse right now?
And the second New England turnover is cashed in right away. My goodness.
Half this quarter's almost already gone, so at some point, sense of urgency's got to be increased here.
The Falcons lead 28-3. Fires left, catch made by White, Trent to the inside, dives across the goal line. Touchdown, Patriots!
And maybe, just maybe, there's the one you need.
Airborne to the uprights, no good.
You gotta be kidding me. Now it's time for somebody on the defensive side to get to Matt Ryan.
The Patriots will try to stage the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Matt, hit as he throws, it's loose!
You kidding me?
Boy, unbelievable. The sack just can't happen. That cannot happen.
Tom takes the snap, backs up, looks left, throws it for Amendola. Touchdown, Patriots! Pats will go for two, 5:56 to go here in the fourth. He's in for two!
Now we got a ball game, folks.
Touchdown, Patriots! They've drawn within two in Super Bowl 51. Brady under center. Quick throw to Amendola, screen left.
Everybody has supported you. Everybody behind you today.
Reaches across the goal line.
That's it.
It's a tie game in Super Bowl 51.
I can't believe it.
The first ever overtime game in Super Bowl history.
Let's go score and win this thing, baby. For your mom. For your mom, bro.
Tom takes the snap. Second and goal to go from the two. Toss sweep right for James White. Cuts it upfield. Driving forward. Diving to the goal line. A touchdown. And a final for the Patriots.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
I've seen it all. I have seen it all.
He'll be handed a Lombardi trophy for the fifth time. You wanted one more in New England, and you got it.
I've got goosebumps watching that. And the first thing that comes to mind when you watch it is there isn't a better sport when it comes to how it is covered both cinematically and the sound, because people are mic'd up in this game. It gives you such an insight into it.
Truly amazing, and the NFL does an outstanding job of allowing people to experience everything that goes on with those players on the field.
People still talk to me about that game. And what are we, nearly 7 months on, which isn't surprising, really.
I feel like we witnessed the greatest Super Bowl ever. I mean, we were there, we saw it, we felt it, the emotions were happening.
Not ever.
Oh, it was a good one. It was
ever,
man.
Are there two others that were greater for you?
I can think of 2 other Super Bowls that were a little bit better than that one. But that was good. It was a good
Greatest
one.
comeback.
Greatest comeback.
Okay.
I give you that.
I don't want this whole season to be about Brady and your animosity towards Brady, but you did end our coverage that night by saying he is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, well, I have to apologize for that because, I was a little bit emotional at the time after seeing him defeat the Atlanta Falcons. But no, he's not the greatest of all time, man. That was the greatest comeback we've seen. That might have been the greatest performance we've seen in the Super Bowl. But the greatest of all time, I still not
So
sold.
you've changed your mind?
I changed my mind.
What you will find, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls watching, is that over the course of this season, they've both changed their minds an awful lot, particularly when it comes to predictions and who they're fancying and all of that kind of stuff. The crucial point in that Super Bowl was the Edelman catch.
Yes.
Right? And the great thing about that, going back to coverage and how the access we get, was that this was mic'd up. So you could actually hear this shortly after he took the catch.
I caught it! I caught it! I caught it! Crazy, I swear to God. No way, look at that. Watch. On the ground. No.
It was an amazing catch and amazing footage as well. The thing is, he's Brady's go-to guy for the Patriots. So throwing it onto this season, he's going to be out for the season, isn't he, Edelman?
I mean, devastating injury because, just like you said, that's his go-to guy. And you hear them talk about each other. They understand each other as friends and on the field. And that's important. They see the game the same way. Tom Brady needs him.
This is the pre-season game in which he did his cruciate, isn't it? So how much does that weaken New England? Because actually, if you look at the stuff that they did since winning the Super Bowl, they have strengthened in many ways.
Yes, it doesn't weaken them, not one bit.
Wow.
And here's why I say that. Who was Tom Brady's go-to guy last year? Gronkowski. And what happened? He didn't play. They ended up winning the Super Bowl without him. This New England Patriots team is a well-oiled machine. It doesn't matter who they have out there at receiver. They brought in Brandon Cooks. They brought in Dwayne Allen, 2 outstanding receiving options for this guy. Gronkowski's coming back. They're going to be able to move on without Julian Edelman.
Do you find it remarkable that they are stronger already than they were last season, given how well they were last season? And if so, let's get the question out of the way on a preview show. Can they go 19-0? Can they go the whole season undefeated?
I don't think they can go undefeated. It's just so hard week to week. I mean, to get up for every game, things happen, you don't know. But as long as Tom Brady is taking that snap, they got a chance to be
And you'd
great.
say they're stronger than last year?
Yes.
OK. Well, we hope that you were with us all of last season, but we also hope to bring in new viewers and new fans of the game. So if this is the first time that you've dipped your toe into the NFL, here's a little explainer to get you up to speed. The 32 teams in the NFL are split equally between 2 conferences, the AFC and the NFC. Each conference is made up of 4 divisions that contain 4 teams. Each team will play 16 games in the regular season. They'll play their divisional rivals home and away every year, with their remaining 10 games spread out across both conferences based on a predetermined rotation. The aim in the regular season is to top your division by having the best win-to-loss record. As an example, here is how last season panned out. By winning your division, you automatically reach the playoffs. But there is also a back door. If your win-loss record is good enough, you can sneak into one of the 4 wildcard spots. Once in the playoffs, the 12 teams who have qualified battle over who will be crowned conference champions. Then, on February the 4th in Minnesota, the NFC champions meet the AFC champions and they fight for the big one, the Super Bowl. Well, I'd like to talk about Houston, first of all, with you both and what they're going through at the moment as a city. Of course, it's a city that you know very well. You live there. You played for the Texans.
Yeah, it's such a sad situation. And I actually was playing there when they had a hurricane before. I had been through the same situation. It was our bye week during the season, so we were able to get out of town. But I have teammates that just had terrible stories about trying to get out of town, being in traffic.
Did you feel a need then to step up as a group of players for the area? Because there's no doubt that that's what J.J. Watt has done over the past few days, you know, as the face of the franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. When we got back into town and saw what had happened, we definitely, the community, the players, the organization, Bob McNair is a great owner. We got behind it and we did as much as we could for the community. This
might be a difficult question to answer, really, but if you go back to when Katrina hit New Orleans, New Orleans, the couple of seasons before Katrina went 8-8. The season of Katrina, which damaged their stadium, they went 3-13. Yeah. Do you think it could damage Houston? I know it pales into insignificance, but do you think it could damage their season as on the field?
Well, I would hope not, but from all indications and from the things that I've seen in the past, it definitely has an effect on teams. Like you said with New Orleans and Hurricane Katrina, we actually played against New Orleans that year, and they had to come, instead of playing in New Orleans, they had to come play against us in New York, which was their home game, and they were just a terrible team, and you could tell that the focus wasn't there, that, you know, their mind was elsewhere, and rightfully so, because who really wants to be playing football in this situation where your whole town is decimated like that? So it might have an effect on their season, but I hope it doesn't.
Let's look at some of the other teams in the AFC. The Raiders were so close last year, weren't they, until they lost Derek Carr with a broken leg. He's back and he's fit. So what do you assess of their chances?
Well, offensively, they are dangerous. I mean, with Marshawn Lynch now, a closer with that high-powered offense, they're amazing. I mean, I feel like what they did last year was just so significant. I don't know if they can do that again. And especially, I think nobody's talking about their weakness, which is their secondary.
Well, I like the Oakland Raiders, but I just don't think, like he said, they're going to be able to continue the success that they had last season. I think even though they brought in Marshawn Lynch, they have Derek Carr, they have the reigning defensive MVP in Khalil Mack.
Yeah, exactly.
Outstanding football player. But when I watched their games last year, it just seemed to me something was missing. I'm not quite sure. I can't put my finger on it right now, but something seems to be missing from that team, and I don't think they're going to be able to dethrone the New England Patriots.
All right. Right, so the best team in the AFC?
Oh, New England Patriots.
Best team in the AFC?
England.
Okay. Yep. The dark horses in the AFC, somebody that might surprise us.
Yes.
Bear in mind, I'll hold you to this all season.
Yes.
Go on then.
The Miami Dolphins.
Ooh. Really?
Right.
Yes. And this is why I say that. Jay Cutler is an outstanding quarterback under Adam Gase. Now, he had his best season ever under Adam Gase, who is the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. They have everything. Outstanding receivers, a good defense, tough physical running back. This is a good football team, and this is my dark horse team.
Okay, we might come back to the Dolphins a little bit later on.
Houston Texans.
They're your dark horse.
They are. And I'm going to tell you why. You're not going to outscore the New England Patriots.
Yes.
Who gave them the roughest time in the playoffs? Houston.
Yes.
Okay, they can stop them. So if they get a little bit of offensive engine going, they can pull that off.
Who's their quarterback, though? Tom
Hey, man,
Savage?
They
You got Tom Savage at quarterback?
keep it close, and Deshaun Watson will be on the field.
For the first time this season, you two start to argue in the editor in my ear says, wrap it up. That's how it'll be for the next few months. Now, this season, I am actually told we're breaking new boundaries because in addition to our UK audience, we now have viewers tuning in around the world, apparently. No pressure. One of those nations taking in the show is Nigeria. So this next section is dedicated to the Watching the Manura family, who no doubt have often wondered what OC means when he says he's on the telly. Welcome to NFL This Week. Joining me once again, former NFL cornerback Jason Bell.
Some guys got it.
And two-time Super Bowl winner OC Omenyiora.
That was a great save.
A touchdown for the Patriots!
Give them the X, man. They need that, man.
Keep throwing that up.
Give me that X!
That man's running like me when I was a kid in Africa. Have you ever been chased by a rhinoceros?
We're going to have to send you to acting school.
I'm the greatest the world has ever seen.
This guy's humble.
He closed that space down quicker than I closed down my computer. When my wife walks in the room, show me what you got.
And squeeze it in tight. I would hit him there. Stop talking bad about you when you're not around.
Are you serious? Okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
it's okay.
dear.
I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me. Paparazzi.
There it is. That's it.
Well, as we already saw with the kimono, pre-season for an NFL player throws up the bizarre and the outright brilliant. Let's just take a look around the leagues at what's been happening. Let's start with Antonio Brown and how he arrived for pre-season at the Steelers in a vintage Rolls Royce.
You can't give everybody money. you can't give everybody money, man, because this is the type of stuff that
he looks so calm and relaxed.
Yeah,
look at him.
Yeah, look at him.
Would you? I mean, would you like teammates doing this?
Yeah, for me it was always good because I'd like to be that guy because I was trying not to get cut every year. Yeah. So I definitely wasn't doing anything like that. But to watch guys like OC come in, it's cool. They seem relaxed.
Don't give him ideas on how he's going to arrive for each show from now on. Odell Beckham Jr. is a favourite of the show, obviously, for his skills. In pre-season practice already, OC, he's demonstrating what he does best.
This guy is he's not a human being. Like, who makes catches like this routinely? He does this in the game, in practice. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, the good thing about this is it does show how much he does practice it. It isn't just like that.
I mean, nobody really, they look at the catch, but watch him jump. I mean, he's jumping off of footwork that like triple jumpers do. It's amazing.
And speaking of serious pre-season practice, this is unbelievable. This will make you wins. James Harrison of the Steelers, they are playing beach volleyball with a medicine ball.
Oh, yeah. Wow. He's throwing to my boy. That's my boy Rob Golden. That's the safety,
crazy.
number 21.
Yes, could you do that?
No. See, this right here is intimidation. He's doing this for guys to watch and think when they play against him that he's just going to muscle them to death.
Mark, this is my regular workout. I do this every day. In case you don't know, I'm the greatest workout there's ever been.
I thought you might say that, actually. Let's take a look at the London games that are coming, because we're going to get 4 NFL games in the capital of England this year. And there they are: Baltimore against Jacksonville, New Orleans against Miami, Arizona against the Rams, and Minnesota against Cleveland. And let's start with that Miami game, shall we, against the New Orleans Saints. You've already tipped them, OC, as a dark horse. You think Cutler's a better option than Tannehill, do you, who's injured?
I think so, and only because of Adam Gase and the fact that we know that he had his best season under Adam Gase in 2015. So I think they're continuing that same offense. He's comfortable down there. He has even better receiving options than he had in Chicago. So I think they're going to be a really good team.
There'll be a lot of hype around that game in London because J.J. will be back for the Dolphins, back in his hometown.
Absolutely, and he's one of the hardest running backs in the league. I mean, he breaks more tackles than anybody. It's going to be interesting to see him play.
Do you think there'll be a lot of pressure on him this season in general because of what he did last season to now repeat it?
Definitely, man. And a quarterback's best friend is the running game, so he has to continue. And every time I think about J.J., you know what I think? Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an English.
Do you?
I don't know why. It just comes to my mind because, he's English. He's an Englishman.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that when you see me?
No, not really.
Well,
man.
I'm English.
For some reason, it just doesn't quite
doesn't
translate.
Doesn't kind of work the same way.
Correlation, not really.
Let's talk about Minnesota against Cleveland. I want to focus on Cleveland here. So this is at Twickenham. The 29th of October is when this game takes place. Now, last season, you two took the mick out of Cleveland mercilessly.
Just us two, right?
Just you two.
It's only us two, right?
I stood up for them all the time. But do you think there might be a different proposition this season? And if so, why do you think that?
I definitely do. I think they did the right thing by working on that and improving that offensive line. When you improve the offensive line, you give whoever's playing quarterback the ability to be successful. And I think they did that and addressed that this offseason.
So that's what they did in the offseason. And then they debated for a while who their quarterback was going to be. Brock Osweiler is there, of course, but they've gone with Deshaun Kaiser, who they drafted. He will be their quarterback. So you don't want to expect too much from a rookie, do you?
You don't, but it's the right move. I mean, this is a young football team. This is a team that's well, obviously they can't get any worse than they did last year. So
they could get one game worse. They were 1-15. Now you're trying to get me to take the big guy, but they were 1-15.
No, but this is a team that's going to grow. They're going to have some growing pains, obviously, with a young rookie quarterback. They got a good head coach in Jackson. So this is a team that you really need to be on the lookout for.
And they had the number 1 draft pick, and they picked with that Myles Garrett. So both of you, give me an appreciation of what he is going to bring, what everybody can look out for when he plays for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, when you're talking about a guy like this, you want your defensive end to be the cornerstone of your team. Now, this is an outstanding physical specimen. Huge, speed, athleticism. He has it all, and he can rush the passer. You want a guy on your team for 10, 15 years, this is going to be the guy.
Yeah, it's hard to find guys like that. I mean, you know, Osi was one of those rare breeds, and because of that, you put pressure, you can win games with guys like that.
But it's crazy. It's not. You normally expect a quarterback to go number one in the draft. He hasn't, and it's quite nice to see somebody different going number one in a draft and seeing how big a superstar they could be. It's somebody different for people to look out for.
Yeah, but he's that important. I mean, besides a quarterback, it's the guy who stops him. So you want to get a guy like that, and you don't want to waste that first-round pick on somebody that doesn't have super talent.
Okay, the first guy on the touchscreen to do all the analysis is Jason this season, not you.
The first pick.
The first pick. Jason, make your way over if you would.
Can I get cut?
Well, go practice. As Jason heads off to the touchscreen, I'm going to tell you about a new feature that we're going to do over the course of the campaign. We're going to look at positions in the NFL. We'll pick out the big names. We'll tell you why they're the best in the field. But we'll also give you a player to look out for this season. So Jason is over there, and he's going to start us off with quarterbacks.
We all agree that OC's favorite quarterback, Tom Brady, is the greatest. But let me talk about another three guys that I like, and I like specific things they do well. Let's start with my man, Drew Brees. What Drew Brees does well is he's a quick decision maker. He has the highest percentage of passes thrown quickly in the league. And that's effective for a guy who needs to keep his offense operating quickly and efficiently. As you see now, he's making quick decisions down here in the goal line. This is where you got to get the ball out quick, and he does that better than anybody. Tight spaces, tight windows, you have to make quick decisions. That's true veteran quarterback play. It takes years to get that skill down, and Drew Brees is one of the best at it. Let's go to my man, Russell Loose Legs Wilson. Now, what Russell Wilson does better than anybody is he operates in what I call orchestrated chaos. I mean, his O-line is not the best, and he's never had the greatest O-line. So what he has to do is he has to create plays using his legs. I want you to watch his feet here. As you see, as soon as he gets a snap, he has pressure on him. He has to move around. He has to make time for his guys to get open down the field. That's a 3rd and 11 play. That's huge. He has to give his team time to get open and operate. And with a tight end like Jimmy Graham, that's what you need to do. Once again, look at him operate. Look at his footwork, and he gets the ball out. I mean, he created that whole play using his legs. And once again, that's why footwork is so important for a quarterback. You got to know who you have around you. He knows he has to move because his O-line isn't the greatest. OC loves guys like that. Now, my main man, Aaron Mark Chapman Rodgers. Now, as you see, this is a serious point of the game, right? 31-31 in the playoffs, 4th quarter, 12-second, 3rd and 20. This is where accuracy comes into play, and Aaron Rodgers is the best in the league when it comes to that. As he comes out, he gets a snap. He's got pressure on him immediately. He rolls out. But look at this. He throws across his body down the sideline. I mean, this view's okay, but let's watch this next one. Watch where he places this ball. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Look at the guy, 31. He's like, I can't believe you pulled that off. Because nobody usually can squeeze these in these windows like this. And that's what Aaron Rodgers does better than anybody. He squeezes in those tight spaces. And this other clip will show you even more. Down by the goal line, this is where it is most important because you don't have a lot of space in the red zone, in the end zone. The throwing lanes are tighter. As you see him creating with his feet and then throwing and getting a tight lane without any space. I mean, you have to be so accurate to throw touchdowns down in the red zone, in the end zone, and that's what he does well. That's why most teams try to run, and they prefer to run in because it's so hard to get the ball in those tight spaces. Now, we always got to talk about the future, right? We talked about the now. Hey, there's a bunch of young guys right now that I like, but this guy, Jameis Winston, he's my favorite. And I'll tell you why. He's a born leader. If you watch Hard Knocks, you see him talk. The guy's got it. But as you see, he's got the arm, he's got the mobility, and he can make plays. This is a very good highlight of all those things. He's got pressure, he's moving around, he's keeping his eyes downfield. That's the main thing. You got to keep your eyes downfield of who you're throwing to. You can't panic back there. And he's doing it. And look at this arm. I mean, this is amazing. With all that pressure, he's got weapons around him, And a young quarterback to develop, they have to have good weapons, offensive weapons around them. Good receivers, good tight end, good offensive line, good running game. And Tampa Bay has that. He needs to continue to develop. It takes about 4 or 5 years for those guys, but he's on the right path. Jameis Winston for the future. Those are my picks. I like quarterbacks.
He does like quarterbacks. And as he comes back over, let me ask you, OC, what type you would fear most when you were playing, of the ones that Jason highlighted?
No question, it would be Aaron Rodgers. Now, you can prepare for a mobile quarterback. You can also prepare for a standard pocket passing quarterback. But nobody can prepare you for a guy who can do both. Now, Aaron Rodgers in the pocket isn't looking to run most of the times. He's scrambling in the pocket with his eyes downfield, looking to throw the football, buying himself 5, 6, 7 seconds, which no DB can cover for. He's a nightmare to play against.
The interesting thing, on your list there of what you're looking for in a quarterback, you don't have Matt Stafford on there, who this week has become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, and taking nothing away from him. And for him, it was just timing. I mean, his contract was up. He was the top guy out there. He gets the top dollar.
The other thing that shows, just very quickly, is particularly with Rodgers and Brees, the experience, and Brady as well. So when we're looking at young quarterbacks over the course of the season, you can't expect too much too soon. Is that fair?
Of course. The quarterback position is the hardest position to play in sports.
Not what you have to learn.
In sports, exactly. So it takes a couple of years for them to truly develop. You only see guys like Dak Prescott come in once in a generation.
Let me ask you about one of the serious stories in the NFL at the moment, and that's Dallas, who were very good last season. They're known as the America's team. They don't have Ezekiel Elliott for the first 6 games. He's been banned by the NFL for domestic violence. Then the interesting thing about this story is that the NFL have looked at it with their conduct policy. Elliott himself hasn't actually been charged with anything by the police, but the NFL have taken a strong lead on this and gone, this affects the image of our game. This is what we're doing.
Yes, and they're going to err on the side of caution every time. They're going to bring the hammer down. They're going to use a sledgehammer to knock down that ant, because there's no place for that in our game. You don't need to be behaving like that. You don't need to be doing things or conducting yourself like that. Playing in the NFL is a privilege. And if you go against that, this is exactly what happens, man. I think they're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and I think in his case, they got to do something to take away something he loves, because he keeps getting in trouble, right? This guy can be a star for a lot of years. You got to give him the opportunity to improve on himself.
It's a bit like the Houston conversation. It's a bit tricky to then bring it back to football, but that is the nature of this show. How will it impact on the Cowboys at the start of the season not having him?
Zero impact whatsoever. And here's why I say that. You see, everybody thinks that the Dallas Cowboys stars are Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, or Dez Bryant. But it's not the stars. The stars of that team are the offensive line. These are the guys who have been dominating at that position for the past 5 years. You had a guy by the name of Darren McFadden rush for 1,000 yards behind that offensive line, and he had done nothing in his entire NFL career. I put it to you like this, Jay Bell. Mark Chapman could rush for 1,000 yards behind that offensive line, man. I'm telling you.
You've just got early season enthusiasm.
No. I'm telling you, this is an outstanding guy, and they're outstanding offensive line, and they're going to continue to go through.
I instinctively breathed in when you said that to make myself more of an athlete. Your NFC favourites are?
NFC favorite is Atlanta.
Atlanta. You think they'll be able to come back from the disappointment of the Super Bowl?
That's why I was a little hesitant. That's going to be hard, but they have the talent.
Green Bay.
Green Bay and your
Packers.
NFC dark horses.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have everything. I mean, on the defensive side, they have everything over there. They have great pass rushers, great secondary, offense, great quarterback, great receivers, and a good O-line. I think these are the people that people are sleeping on right now.
Your NFC dark horses?
I got to go with the New York Giants.
Is that just because the rule of this show is that the Giants have to be mentioned at least once because you both played for them?
Defense wins championships. And Eli gets hot, and when he gets hot, things can happen.
All right. We've made a note of all those predictions. We will come back to them over the course of the season. So just before we go then, we're back Saturday, September the 9th in the early hours of the morning with highlights of the opening game on Thursday as the Kansas City Chiefs, who if you watched last year, you'll remember Osis is a huge fan of them, visit the New England Patriots, and we'll also preview the opening round of the regular season. So that'll be from midnight. And then a further reminder, every Tuesday we'll have extended highlights and all the fallout from the weekend's action on NFL this week. And that will start Tuesday, September the 12th. Thank you to you for watching. We hope you will be with us for the whole season. Thank you to you two as well. We will see you next week.
That's the new one. It's the Millie Rock.
Is that the new dab?
That's the new one.